Everyone, hopefully that you are doing well. In today's video I'm gonna talk about understanding. Why? Because understanding is well connected to speaking. In other words, if you want to speak very well, if you want to achieve fluency, all you have to do is to understand things very well, is to learn things very well, is to eliminate all the doubt about things in advance, beforehand, while the learning process, while the learning stage. And this is exactly what the majority of language learners miss. They don't understand things very well. They don't learn things very well. They don't eliminate all the doubt about things they come to learn. They instead learn things superficially. And they expect themselves to be able to use this vocabulary while speaking. Sorry, my friend, impossible. We cannot use something we are not sure about, we are not certain about in a spontaneous process. Speaking wants you to be certain, wants you to be doubt-free about the vocabulary you learn. If you are not certain, if you still have some doubt about the vocabulary you have, it means that you will not be able to use them while speaking. The equation works like this. It is as simple as this. In other words, if you fail to use something while speaking, it doesn't mean that you need to do more practice. It doesn't mean that you need to do more speaking. It does mean that you need to go back and learn it very well. It does mean that you need to go back and understand it very well. It does mean that you need to go back and eliminate the doubt you still have about this vocabulary. Got it, my friend? Let me clarify something. My friend, speaking is not cause, is not a factor that lead to something. Okay? Speaking, in this case, is a result, is an object, is our object, is the object we want to achieve, we want to reach, we want to attain. Which means we have to look for the causes and the factors that lead to speaking. One of these factors is understanding. Okay? Is understanding and learning. We always learn to understand. Okay? Which means if you fail to use something while speaking, it doesn't mean that you need more practice, more speaking. It does mean that you need more learning, more understanding. This is what the majority of language learners don't understand, don't know about speaking. Okay? Let me tell you something about understanding. Understanding is about 3 levels. The number 1 level is exposure. Exposure is the lowest level of understanding. What do we mean by exposure? Exposure is the first time we see a vocabulary, or we hear a vocabulary, or the first time we come across a vocabulary. This is what we mean by exposure, and it is part of understanding. Number 2 level of understanding is awareness. Awareness is about when we start getting aware of the vocabulary we expose. When we start to collect some information about the vocabulary we expose. For example, when we know if it is a verb or an adjective or a word, where we can use it and stuff like this, okay? This is awareness, okay? Number 3 is ownership. Ownership is the highest level of understanding. And the majority of language learners don't reach this stage, this level of understanding. And this is why they fail to use what they have learned. Or between brackets, what they have or what they think they have learned. The majority of language learners get stuck in this stage. And this is exactly why they can understand other people, but they cannot talk or speak just like them. It's because they just get aware of the vocabulary they have. And they don't move to this stage, which is about certainty. You need to be certain about the vocabulary you have, which is about automation, which means you need to get the vocabulary you come to learn automatic into your mind. This is what the majority of language learners miss. This is what the majority of language learners need to care about, need to do. They need to spend more time with things or with the vocabulary to get certain about them and to get them automatic into their minds. This is the only way that will help them to be able to use them while speaking. Now, let me tell you a practical, or give you a practical idea of what I am sharing. Let me tell you how things should be learned if your goal is fluency, if your objective is to get fluent, is to speak very well. Suppose we want to learn this phrase out of, you can call it a phrase or expression, it doesn't matter. First, we are going to look for all the situations where we can use this phrase. Precisely, we are going to learn about all the words and vocabulary that can be used with this phrase. For example, we can say out of place. Let's put it in a sentence. You can say her comment was out of place during the meeting. Her comment was out of place during the meeting. It means that her comment was not in the right place, was not in the right time, was not appropriate. In other words, it would be better if she did not make that comment. One more situation we can say, out of order. In a sentence, the machine is out of order right now, which means the machine is not working. The machine is not functioning. The machine is broken right now. This is what we mean by out of order. Number 3, out of question. In this case, I'm going to give you a scenario. Suppose you are an employee in a particular company, and the company has a lot of things to do, and they cannot make it without you. Okay? And you reach out to your manager because you want to ask for a vacation. In this case, your manager will tell you, listen, asking for a vacation right now is what? Is out of question. What do you mean by out of question? Which means it's impossible. Why? Because the company has a lot of things to do. One more situation we can say, out of touch. For example, can say, I have been out of touch with my family. Suppose this is my family and this is me. Out of touch, which means we don't see each other. Okay? We don't see each other. We are in two different places. We don't meet each other. We are out of what? Of touch. Okay? One more situation with touch. We can say touch with reality. with reality. You can say her ideas were out of touch with reality, which means these are her ideas and this is reality. They are in two different places, which means her ideas have nothing to do with reality, which means her ideas were not logical, were not rational, were not real. Okay, we see out of touch with reality. One more situation we can say out of reach. Out of reach. We can see the top shelf is out of reach for me, which means the top shelf is very high. I cannot reach it. Out of reach for me. One more situation we can say out of yes out of sorts. Out of sorts. Can say I feel out of sorts today. Out of sorts, which means a little bit sick. I don't feel well today. I feel out of sorts today. And we can say out of stock. Out of stock when we don't have more of something. Okay, for example, in a sentence, the product you are looking for is out of stock. Out of stock, which means we don't have any of it. Is it clear? Everything is sold out. Right?